Right.
Yes, I Happy Saturday. Oh, today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Turks and Caicos, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Uncut. This evening, I am so happy to have with us Mr. Robert Bain Jr., who is one of the at-large candidates for the PDM. Welcome to Uncut, Bobby.
Thanks for having me on the show. It's been some time. Finally here. Good night, Turks and Caicos.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Bobby, tell us, how do you feel as a young Turks and Caicos Islander with a young family entering the race?
First and foremost, for any young person to sign up and step up to the plate to show interest to represent the people of the Turks and Caicos is just an awesome feeling. It's me just trying to do my part to give back to Turks and Caicos and not being selfish, considering other people and making them priority. So it's a great feeling, and I'm happy to be here. As you and many others would know, this is not my first time at frontline politics. This is actually my second time entering the race, so it shows that I don't give up that easy.
Right, and it's refreshing to see that you did enter the race again. Of course, knowing how close you came to being in House of Assembly the last time. Um, and with that being said, what impact do you think that you'll have on the House of Assembly? What are you hoping to accomplish if you are successful in this upcoming election?
Well, it's a whole number of things that I definitely want to accomplish by being a member and a representative of the people of Turks and Caicos. I definitely want to be the voice for the young people, this generation and the generations after me. Our generation has been crying for years to have a seat at the table. And what better time to have someone that's in your generation or around your age bracket to represent you than now? I believe that we as young people, we know exactly what we want. So who better is there to represent us other than, having one of us at the front? So I want to see a number of policy be put in place. And just about every house session or debate, there must be a topic or discussion about the youths of Turks and Caicos, bringing them to the forefront, providing a number of opportunities. Opportunities come in, different ways. And I just want to be that voice, someone that the young people of Turks and Caicos can actually depend on and represent them to make sure their voices are heard. And that's my job. And that will start from day one. So I want to encourage all young persons in Turks and Caicos, and not just young persons. I am someone that you can easily communicate with and have a conversation with. So as your representative on February 19th, I want you to use me to represent you by reaching out to me, telling me what is it that you want to see changes in your country, our country, Turks and Caicos.
And you mentioned the word youth, which is so important because often we hear that the youth are the future. And finally, we are seeing so many millennials and so many young persons step up to the plate and enter elections, enter the race. And that shows that the youth is no longer the future, the youth is now, and it's
Agreed.
happening now. So that's very important. Um, what exactly is the Youth Incorporated executive?
Youth corporate youth incorporated executive is basically a term used to turn young people into executives, bringing them to the executives of the country, which are the elected officials, the governor, the deputy governor, is like I said earlier, bringing them to straight to the seat of the table to have that conversation where they voices are heard and not left out. Any decision that is made in Turks and Caicos for the future of Turks and Caicos should include the voices of the youth, because it's the now generation and the generation after that definitely will have to live with the decisions that we make today. So what our job, my job, is to change the mindset of our young people, bring about opportunities where they will not just be heard, but be given opportunities that they are entitled to, and not just entitled to, teaching them that, hey, listen, you have to actually work hard for a number of things that we have in these beautiful by natures to expand and make your life a whole lot better. So it's
And you
training,
mentioned,
introducing, go ahead. Introducing conferences, mentorship program. It's just bringing them up to that executive level.
okay,
That's what it's all
you
about.
answered my exact question because I was going to ask you for a little bit more specifics. But also, you spoke about opportunities for youth. What sort of opportunities are you seeking
Yeah.
to bring to the table?
All right. Opportunities in the business work sector. That's there has been a number of youths that has been walking up to me, Bobby, how do you do it? You're doing pretty well for yourself. And of course, it starts with education. Education is key. We all need to get our degrees. That's very, very important. That's the first step. And the second part is to ensure that not just program and jobs are there. We need to ensure that the best opportunity possible is there to benefit our young people, where they will be business owners rather than just employees, making sure that they have the best pay here in Turks and Caicos, that the playing field is actually at a level where it doesn't matter if they're here. If the job pays 100 to 150,000 a year, the Turks and Caicos Islanders should get that pay. As we see, what happens is that there are a number of jobs that are put out there, and basically the foreign workers that comes, they reap all of the benefits, whereas us, the locals, there is an excuse that there isn't enough training, there isn't enough
So
qualification, and the list goes on
that's
and
why
so forth.
unions are also important. And I know for quite some time the government has been pushing back on unions. But that's
Yeah,
the point of the union because they protect the
yeah,
workers and they look out for the
I agree.
best interests of the workers. So
Yeah.
that problem is really just easily solved between a union and the government working hand in hand. Um, I
Well,
don't
you
think
need
it's
the whole thing is ensuring that your representative at the end of the day is policing everything, policing the immigration laws, making sure that our young people and our people at Turks and Caicos has access to training to grow their talent, to develop themselves even better. So there's no excuse. And like I said, when I speak of opportunity, the opportunity can come in any form. It's just where do you want to position yourself? And as I said, continuously to a number of person, it always starts with a conversation. You have to want something. You have to know where you're heading, and it starts with a dream and bringing it to reality. And we, as elected, well, not elected officials yet, soon to be elected officials, our job is to ensure that Turks and Caicos have a smooth and the best opportunities that are in reach. And that's one of my major things to do for our people when I get elected to represent them in the House of Assembly.
right. Now that we're talking about opportunity, of course, opportunity goes hand in hand with making money. So let's now
Oh, it
talk
does.
about the economy. Um, what are your plans to diversify the economy, if any?
Oh, of course. Turks and Caicos definitely needs the economy be diversified. As we've seen, COVID shows that the importance of having a diverse economy. So you would have heard, time and time during the election, everybody would discuss about, most especially like in North Caicos, the Greenland,
Right.
agriculture, farming and all of that. It's being, long overdue, where we have different uh what's the
Mhm.
word I'm looking for? We
Industries?
Yeah, yes, we have different industries already in Turks and Caicos. What it do need is just for us to actually now look and invest in those industries and promote them, not just locally, but internationally. We have seen what the South Caicos Fishing Capital can do and what it's capable of. So just imagine, and like I said, I brought this up the last time in the 2016 election about actually promoting farming where we start to sell, fruits, fresh stock overseas. I was in North Caicos over the weekend, and what I mean, you know yourself, North Caicos basically can grow just about anything, and
Mhm.
it's time for us to start growing our own food. What do we spend money on just about every week? Food, grocery, just about every day. So we send all of that money overseas to get continuous come back in, where the cash never comes back in at all, and we have the resources right here in Turks and Caicos. But like I said, that's just one way to diversify the economy. But we as a government need to start looking into different avenues abroad and seeing how it works best for us here in Turks and Caicos. Of course, that will need a lot of public consultation to ensure that this is something that Turks and Caicos actually wants. But like I said again, COVID has shows that the time has come that we definitely need to diversify our economy. Technology is here to assist with that. Technology has advanced the world in so many different ways. So a lot of things we can do that diversify our economy can be done online. Everything is right now today is at our fingertips.
Right. Exactly. You made a very important point. I feel as if many of our industries has been have been stifled
Mm-hmm.
simply because we fail to realize that our consumers are not just in Turks and Caicos. So we focus on our home market, not realizing that we actually have a market in the world at large. So
Yeah.
that is very important for a lot of our small businesses even to take into consideration. How do you market to the bigger world? How do you ship, get your product in there as quickly as possible? So that's an important point. Also, Bobby, you spoke about the fact that technology is now advancing so fast. Of course, I noticed that you're campaigning on e-government,
Yes.
electronic government. Can you give us a time frame of when you think that will come into effect? Also, um, how in depth of an e-government are we thinking to go as a country? Are we thinking to take it as far as Estonia, or are we just gonna stop at the limits where we see more well-known first world countries stopped?
No, no, I don't think my government will be just stopping just at a small level. I think we're gonna go straight forward, but of course we have to ensure that it's safe and secure. You got to
Mhm.
remember, people are uploading confidential documents. Uh, but what this e-governance would do, just as everybody knows, it will reduce the whole long lines in government. It will reduce all of the long paperwork. It would actually make the workload much easier for our government employees. And this is definitely something that has been long overdue. It is something that my government definitely will deliver within the next 4 years. As you can see, since COVID has actually sped up the process a bit with the online application process. There's a few not a few immigration, sorry, department. There's already a few government departments where you can actually submit stuff online. So the process
Right.
has already begun, but it's just about to take it to the next level. And you have to ensure
Mm-hmm.
that all of Turks and Caicos actually has access to that fiber connection to make it possible, because you're going to need, serious internet speed to make this happen. And my government is definitely pushing this issue, and we will deliver on that issue.
With this e-governance project, are you guys using a specific model or a specific case study as our target?
Yeah, well, I can say that my government has already begun the research on that, and that will, of course, be discussed by the heads at a later date. It was something that I always knew that I wanted to bring forward to the table, and when I had that conversation with my leaders. They said, you know, Bobby, you are actually on the right track. We are already looking into it. Research is being done, and we're going to ensure that Turks and Caicos has one of the best system possible.
Definitely. So, of course, the agenda was released, and we see you guys are seeking to increase job opportunity even with this e-governance.
Yes.
So we see a lot of opportunity presented in the agenda. There was a figure under the technology part stating that it would provide some 4,000 plus jobs. So often we see projects like this advertised, and once they come into play, we realize that these jobs aren't really for Turks Islanders because either one, Turks Islanders have not been trained in that field or trained to the level that should be in that field. So do we have persons abroad or even persons home that we already have in mind to take up those positions? Also, um, a lot of times we're a minority in our country. That's just the reality of it. And a lot of times we lose out on the job. So is there something that will protect Turks and Caicos Islanders for the opportunities you guys are presenting to us?
Well, the purpose of creating all of these new jobs is to benefit Turks and Caicos. So Turks and Caicos Islanders would be priority on this. So we, as a government, will not go forward with creating jobs if the intentions is not to benefit our Turks and Caicos Island people. So for those that needs the additional training, the experience, the hands-on, that's also where the trade school comes into play, and also sending our Turks and Caicos Islanders abroad for. Sorry, interrupt.
No worries. It's just the sound is cutting in and out. I'm not sure if it's the same on the listener's end.
I'm not sure. I think we
Okay,
find out.
you're back.
Yes. So where did we left off?
We were speaking about, you said that the jobs will be reserved for Turks and Caicos Islanders
Yeah, all
first,
jobs will be
and
reserved for
trade
Turks and
school,
Caicos Islanders. Yes.
and the trade schools will provide a training ground to get some of our people ready who aren't
Yeah.
already ready.
Well, you know one thing about Turks and Caicos Islanders. We are educated people. We just need the opportunity to be in positions so we can display our degrees. Put rather than our degrees just sitting on the shelf.
Yes,
Excuse me one
definitely.
second. The connection is really messing up on my end.
No worries. Let's give it a minute
Yeah.
to see if it's gonna kick back in.
Yeah. I think it's clear now. All right.
Okay, awesome. Of course, we know that some years ago you lost your father due to gun violence. And on behalf of Turks and Caicos, I would like to say sympathy to you and your family because, of course, we know that people say time heals everything, but some wounds just take longer than others, and some wounds just never heal.
Yes.
Um, and of course, you are campaigning on anti-gun agenda, which I feel as if it's a topic that holds very close to your heart, especially given your situation, especially seeing the continuous deaths, not even just continuous, the constant rise in deaths of our young men across Turks and Caicos Islands in combination with losing your father. So I'm sure that it's a very personal topic to you. What are your plans for the anti-gun agenda?
Yes, it is. Please, yeah. Please bear with me a bit. There's a lot of replaying back on my end. So everything that we keep saying, it keeps repeating itself. So I don't know if that's how.
Okay, if you're not connected to the Wi-Fi, try connecting to the Wi-Fi, or if you are connected to Wi-Fi, try disconnecting. It may.
Let's try it
Okay.
again. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I was I was asking, I'm not sure if you heard the question, but I was asking, what are your plans regarding the anti-gun agenda?
Yeah, my plans in reference to that, like I said, as you are aware, and of course the entire Turks and Caicos, we do the police department not run by the government is actually managed by the governor. As representative, but the department has all resources, and that we communicate with the governor when they are not doing their jobs well. I think there needs to be more transparency, accountability, because we have a number of persons in Turks and Caicos have, not just myself, being affected by crime. So we want to ensure that these families be left alone. So a number of these families are in positions where they lost the heads of their home. So what I would like to see for my government or any government to provide um, not just emotional support like what the community always does when someone loses someone, but I want to see a government put things in place where families can actually get some kind of financial support as well. See, because a number of these persons, of course, have lost their life to senseless act. Even sometimes there's situations where mistaken identity. I've heard of a number of cases. So as representatives, we have to ensure that these families are protected and the communication is happening constantly back and forth with the Royal Turks and Caicos Department with these families. You know, me personally speaking, from experience, you the officers or probably the first couple of months, and after it's like the case isn't going to be solved, communication level starts to slack off. So as representative, we want to educate our people on, taking advantage of the 911. If you hear about something, uh, our job is we need to actually go there and provide the police with the assistance, with the information, because we never know when it's going to come to our door.
Yeah.
Let's not wait till it get that far. Let's educate the
Mhm.
younger people of the consequences of committing these acts. There's another avenue that you can take. We want to give you positions to better yourself. Have a great life in Turks and Caicos. Our numbers are small here. Turks and Caicos, with our numbers here, everybody can actually live their best life here in Turks and Caicos. So
Yeah.
it's no excuse by no government why Turks and Caicos Islanders isn't living the best they should be doing. And my government, within the last 4 years, have been ensuring that things and policies and laws are in place to protect the citizens of Turks and Caicos. Majority of the stuff that we hear people ask for government to change and want to see change, majority of these things are already on the books. What needs to happen is a number of these things need to be policed and enforced. So
Enforcement is a huge
the
issue.
different government
Yes.
departments actually would should we should not just be relying on the elected officials, because this is the entire government's business to ensure that Turks and Caicos Islanders are put first and are well protected. So, not to jump off from what we were discussing about the anti-gun violence, but it's me just trying to be an advocate for families that has lost someone. At the end of the day, we need somebody that has rent or know what it feels like. Not someone who's just gonna say they're gonna put this in place or put that in place. Somebody who's gonna ensure that families are protected, and not because the situation has already happened. We just just let loose and all right, they have already gotten over it. No, we're gonna ensure that you get the protection you need, whether you need counseling, whether you need to go seek help or talk to somebody. It's certain small things that might seem small, but it's really huge to assist with people to come to deal with that loss.
Mhm. With that being said, Turks and Caicos, there's a huge plea out there with our police officers in order for crimes to be solved. If you hear something, see something, know something, tell your
Yes.
officers. Don't wait until it's your family member and then you have to be the one crying out for help. You never know who it is you're going to help, because at the end of the day, when victims die, it's not only them that suffer. They leave behind a family who mourns them. They leave behind a family who needs to grieve and deserves closure. Um, so it's a ripple effect in the community, especially with persons who are well known. It affects the community at large, and more so, it's more personal than that. It affects the individual families. So please don't be afraid to call Crime Stoppers. Don't be afraid to drop your tips, because it just may lead to the closing of a case, and it just may prevent a next murder, because that next murder could be you, it could be your brother. You just never really know. So I hope that as a community, we're able to live more like a community as we did in previous times, just so that we could gain peace again in our community and we could live in a harmonious community as well. Um, so I don't think that it could have been better said than Bobby himself with the plea to get you guys to communicate with our officers. It will make their job so much easier. It will make solving these crimes happen so much quicker, because many of our murder cases are still open but cold, because so much time has gone by and there's little or nothing to go on. Um, time is of the essence in cases like that, so it's important for you to tell as soon as you can. um, and I hope that as a community we're able to fix this problem and we're able to save our young men, which if you guys have been following my show for a while, you will know that it's a series that I've been stuck on for the past maybe 5 weeks. I think about 5 weeks. We've done about 5 episodes, so it's something that I hold very dear to me, just because I constantly see our Turks and Caicos men dying, and they're dying at such a young age, leaving
Yeah.
behind kids, and it's a ripple effect in the community because you're creating single parent households all over
Yes.
again, and this time not by choice.
Yeah.
So it these things affect our community in more ways than we actually see firsthand. We would see the effects of it many years from now, which we're probably living in the effects of single parent homes now, and what's all happening on the street. Um, Turks and Caicos is beautiful by nature. Let's just
Of
keep it
course.
that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Bobby, let us know why you deserve our vote, why you feel as if you would be the perfect Minister of Parliament in House of Representatives for us, especially for the millennials, especially for the Gen Zs.
Let's give it a second for it to stop, because it's still repeating this. 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. Good night again, Turks and Caicos. Um, there are a number of reasons why you should vote for me, Robert Dean, to represent you in the House of Assembly come February 19th. One, I will be there and committed with you through every step of the way. I will be that voice who will stand up in the House and fight against whatever it is that is stopping Turks and Caicos from taking their rightful place to the forefront. I will be there to bring about a change where the youths of Turks and Caicos will be heard. Just about every bill, every law, every piece of legislation that decides to go forward to the House, the youths will definitely be considered before those decisions are made. I will be a person that you can reach and depend on. I'll be a person that will hear your issues, take them to the table, and do my best to ensure that I deliver. I would ensure that our government workers are working in the best environments. I would ensure that our kids' dreams, education are fulfilled on every last level there is. There's no stopping at a bachelor level, a master's degree level, wherever the youths of Turks and Caicos or the citizens of Turks and Caicos who want to go. We will bring dreams to reality. Myself, along with my team of 15 persons, we are ready. We have been ready to continue on representing the people of Turks and Caicos. So on February 19th, I don't just want the people of Turks and Caicos to go to the polls and just mark an axe to me. I need my team, if I'm going to help this generation, the next generation, and the current generations to live better lives in Turks and Caicos, which means I need a vote for our Honorable Premier, Honorable Charlene Cartwright Robinson. I need a vote for Honorable Maxivano Thomas, a vote for our three-time serving Chief Minister, Honorable Derek Taylor, a vote for our Minister of Education, Honorable Karen Malcolm. It's a teamwork, a team effort, and the only way we can get the job done to the best of our ability and how we want to get it, we need to take the whole team to represent us in the House of Parliament. And PDM is the right choice to do that. The PDM has accomplished so much over the last 4 years, even dealing with the two back-to-back hurricanes, as well as dealing with the pandemic where the country was shut down for 6 to 8 months. So we have accomplished so much. And if you take a look at the investments that we have been making, and in the next 4 years, my government plans to invest over $100 million to empower young people that wants to have business opportunities. And as a young representative, I will ensure that my people, my young people, get a fair piece of the pie.
So just before we sign off, Bobby, tell us the importance of voting down the line, because we hear this argument so often. Some people are team Skittles, some people are team don't be Skittles because you could mess up the thing. um, what is the importance of you carrying your team into HOA with you? What is the importance of us voting straight down the line? What does that mean for us, the voters?
It's important. It's important to take my team in because it's really not much somebody can do by going into the House of Assembly alone or being on opposition. If you want to be the government, you have to take your team with you. Of course, at the end of the day, everybody has, their political views, their right to vote for whoever they want to vote for. But I'm affiliated with the PDM. I believe the PDM is the party for the people and represents the people of Turks and Caicos the best over the last 40, 45 years of ministerial government that Turks and Caicos had. So my advice to anybody that's going to mark their acts, you want to vote for an individual, a candidate that has Turks and Caicos' best interests at heart. And I believe every last 15 of my PDM candidates has Turks and Caicos at heart and will ensure that Turks and Caicos Islanders are put first.
Well, there you have it, Turks and Caicos. That's Mr. Robert Bean Jr., who is your at-large candidate for the PDM, vying for your vote in this elections. For me, it's not my job to tell you who to vote or how to vote, but it is my job to tell you go out and vote.
It's important. You're right. It's important. You're right. Yeah, and voting is not an option. As long as you are registered on that list, Turks Islander, and you live here, regardless of your intention is to leave Turks and Caicos within the next couple of years, or even leave Turks and Caicos tomorrow permanently, Turks and Caicos will always be home. You need to exercise your democratic rights and go to the poll and vote for a government that you see best to fit and represent Turks and Caicos Islanders. And that government is the PDM's democratic movement.
Exactly. It's important for you guys to go to the poll. It is your democratic right. That is your voice. Your X is your voice. So if you want to have a say in what is happening in our country, it's important for you to hear from your potential MPs, see if their views align with yours, and if your heart tells you yes, go ahead and mark the X. It's important because at this point in our country, we have undergone a pandemic, which we haven't seen pretty much in many people's lifetimes within Turks and Caicos. So much is happening with the economy. So it's important for us to vote so we have a say in the way that we're shaping Turks and
Yes.
Caicos. I said it before on other shows and I'll say it again. If you don't have a right to go out and vote, call your MP, call a friend, call whoever you have to call in order to make sure it's not too late. It's actually very early to get your ride sorted out. It's only January 27th. Um, Election is on February 19th. That is a very, very, very short time frame. So get your ride secured. Make sure you have your status card along with another ID. You must have your status card, guys. It's important. If you can't find it, shake down your room because we already know how long it takes to get your status card. Make sure you have everything you'll need for election day. Have your mask ready, have your ride, have your 2 pieces of ID. Hand sanitizer is a awesome plus to consider. Um, so yeah, I hope to see you all of you out on February 19th. Thank you so much, Bobby, for coming on to Uncut.
Thank you. And I just want to apologize. Like I said, the video and the sound is actually repeating itself. I hope the public got to hear me. And
Yes.
if this one didn't air too well, I'm open to having another sit down. But everything is actually repeating as I'm speaking right now, so it was actually hard to focus on the questions that you were saying to me. So I hope I answered those questions that you were throwing at me. But if not, we can always do another sit down when connections are a bit better. But
Not a
thanks for the
problem.
opportunity to be
I
on your
think,
show. Thanks for those that took the time to view this live. Um, Very much appreciate you taking the time to do that.
yes, I think our audience got a pretty clear sound from you because we're not hearing the feedback. So for some reason, the feedback is only on your end. But
Oh,
definitely, you're always welcome onto Uncut. So we will be having you again soon, hopefully in the near future. Um, Turks and Caicos, thank you for tuning into another episode of Uncut. I will see you all on Saturday with Mr. Kyle Knowles, who is the PNP candidate for Wheeling. So I hope you guys tune in. And of course, we'll have more election candidates coming up within the next coming weeks. Thank you so much, Bobby.
good night.